Hey everybody, I'm Creed and welcome to Creed Saturday Morning, episode 32. Now this is my fan art show where I show sped up footage of mostly inking and coloring I do in Photoshop. And I like to talk about the subject of my art, which is, on this show, is cartoon characters. Today what I'm working on is Decompose from Inhumanoids. And here's my intro, it'll give you a big idea on what I do. So Inhumanoids is a lot different from your regular 80s cartoons. It was way more horror based than most shows. And it was based on the Hasbro toys, which were awesome. Except for the Earth Core, which I didn't think those suit designs were fantastic. But if you want Inhumanoids toys, you want the Inhumanoids anyway. That's the big thing. And they were fantastic toys, and I never had them. But I always wanted them, and now they're probably priced out of my range to buy the originals. My favorite one, just from the commercial, was definitely Decompose, because you could actually open his ribcage and throw the Earth Core inside. It was just awesome. So Inhumanoids ran 13 episodes, and the show was produced by Sunbow and Marvel Productions, two great companies that made a lot of great shows like G.I. Joe and many others. And it was animated by Toei Animation. Now the animation on this cartoon was both better and worse than other shows. It was better because it wasn't just line art like most shows had to do. Just for animation purposes, they didn't use a lot of shading or line weight. But this show used a lot of black and shapes and still animated it all. So it showed you could do it. But it was also a little fluttery. It's not super smooth in a lot of areas. And the thing I really found when I was rewatching it is the character models completely change from frame to frame almost. Like they do a lot of, okay, he'll turn his head. Okay, now the guy looks totally different. Now, I myself can't do turnarounds of a lot of characters, so I don't blame them. But you can really see it, that the character models change a lot just through the course of an episode. So like I said, better animation and also worse animation at the same time, which is kind of weird. But it's still a fantastic show, and there was a lot of like really monstrous stuff and gory things in this show that you wouldn't think would be on TV for kids, but it was. And Decompose is actually villain number 68 in my first series of 100 cartoon villains. And the only reason I have this footage of me doing it is because I had to redo it just recently. A couple of years ago, I lost a hard drive. And when I did, I lost at least 10 of the villains from my cartoon villain series, the original files for them. And all I had was basically the cropped, smaller versions that I uploaded to DeviantArt, which are cool but not useful for anything. So if I want to have original Photoshop files with layers for these pieces, I have to redo them right from the pencils and start again. Luckily my pencils are on paper because everything else was digital, and like I said, I lost those files. But that gives you guys the chance to see me work on this piece, which I originally did before I even started doing videos. And Decompose is one of my favorite 80s cartoon characters, for sure. So in the show, the heroic Earth Core team up with the elemental Mutors, who are like trees and rocks and stuff like that, to fight the trio of subterranean monsters, which I guess these days would be called kaiju, or I'm not sure if there are Americanized kaiju, but if there are, it's the Inhumanoids. I just like to call them monsters. I'm not a big fan of anime myself. So the show starts with Decompose trapped in amber, and he gets free thanks to the treachery of Blackthorn Shore and Tendril coming to rescue him. And the first 5 episodes of the show are one story, and it's just called The Evil That Lies Within. And it has its flaws. In rewatching it, it definitely has its flaws, but still a great 80s cartoon. So Decompose is weak to sunlight. That's his big weakness. And he has the power of death. His touch corrupts and turns living flesh into zombie-like creatures. He made an awesome swarm of demon zombie bats that attack the Earth core in one episode. And he makes a legion of zombie soldiers that, when he corrupts a person, they actually become really huge, like the Inhumanoids too, which is cool. And of course the classic time where he turns Sandra Shore into a monstrous zombie ghoul. And then Earth core later on rescued her, changing her back with sunlight that the Mutors call Whiteburn. So it's probably the most hardcore 80s cartoon when it comes to monsters. Anything else would have been really way more family friendly. And it's definitely the best horror cartoon from 1986 for sure. So Decompose would yell his name when he corrupted somebody. And then they would yell Decompose. And everybody was yelling Decompose. It was really creepy and awesome. And a lot of what made the character cool was the voice of Chris Latta. Now, Chris Latta also is famous for doing the voice of Cobra Commander and Starscream. And on this show, he's also doing the voice for Tendril. He was a fantastic voice actor, and he's no longer with us, which is a big shame. When it comes to the Inhumanoids, Metlar is the boss, but Decompose on his own rules a subterranean city called Skellweb, where he has a legion of monstrosities that worship him. And I actually think he's probably the toughest of the 3 Inhumanoids. So I had a lot of fun drawing this guy the first time, and a little bit less fun redoing it all again, but still good, and I think he came out really awesome. This is one of my favorite villains actually in the series. And I'm getting ready to make a little mini wave of stickers of some of my art, sort of with a Halloween theme, and this is going to be one of them. So stay tuned for more info. If you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I'm Creed Stonegate. That's probably where you'll find the info easiest when I do have them, because there's only going to be a few. I'm going to make some very small print runs of these stickers. So if you're a fan, stay tuned for that. So I really love this show, and when I drew Metlar, at the time I was just drawing mostly headshots. And I really do want a full body Metlar and a full body Tendril so I can do a group shot. And I've tried to draw Tendril a few times with no success yet, but it's those challenging ones like that I will eventually crack. I know I will. So I'll get a good Tendril sometime soon. And like I said, I really want to redraw Metlar now too. So I'm a big fan of this show. I love the Inhumanoids. And I hope you like my version of Decompose. He's a little different from the show, but I think he's close enough. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take her easy.